Rammie's, great sex starts with chocolate, and everyone knows that our favorite chocolate is Alice mushrooms, and they have an all-new sexy flavor called Happy Ending, which is composed of 9 potent aphrodisiacs that enhance sexual wellness in every capacity, from lubrication to arousal to increased sensitivity, stamina, and heightened pleasure. And we have a discount code for you. Go to www.alicemushrooms.com to get 20% off using the code RAM20. Let us know what you think and enjoy. Welcome back to Right Answers Mostly, a podcast on what you didn't learn in history class, but you really wanted to. My name is Tess Bellomo.
And my name's Claire Donald.
Sorry, I just rushed through that. I just was like, we need to tell the kids that we're a little giggly.
Of course, and you guys know what that means if we're a little giggly.
We are a little giggly. I can take a moment. I can settle down.
Yeah, same. Let's take a deep breath together. Ready?
Oh, that's
Everyone,
good.
even if you're driving, let's all take a deep breath. Ready? Inhale. And exhale. Wow, that is nice.
That was so nice, Claire.
Thank you.
I can't believe we've never done that
I
before.
can't believe, man, do we need it?
We need to tell each other that more often.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just we've been in a storm for the past 3 days. It's been just a little bit of a week.
Yeah, it's been crazy energy. So welcome to a podcast on what you didn't learn history class but really wanted to. If this is your first episode, buckle up, Buttercup.
Buckle up, Buttercups. That's for sure.
That is for sure. How are you? Besides needing to take a deep breath.
I'm
We're
good.
high, by the way, if you didn't get that with the giggly, but I'm sure you did.
Yeah, truly high. I was just telling Claire, I've taken a little bit of a weed break in my life. And so, when you get back into it, even just a couple of hits, you're like,
hot
hello.
and heavy. I also feel like you have a sensitivity.
I know I do. I've never been able to take more than a 5 milligram at once.
I'm so jealous.
Can you take a 20?
No. That would be dark times.
Okay.
10 is when we're going for it.
We're going to the moon.
Yeah, we're going to the moon.
And hopefully back.
And hopefully back. And it's a nice going to the moon, but any more than that, I think. I've taken more than 10 in a day.
Yeah, but at once.
But at once, no.
Well, I stopped by the dispensary today because originally Claire and I wanted the cans to drink and sip on because of the essence of today's episode. And the guy was like, the only thing we have here is 100 milligram cans. And I was like, can you imagine if we brought one into Spotify?
When you...
And what would happen to us at the end of
that?
that?
Holy shit. They would have to carry us out.
They'd have to an ambulance
when
here.
When you said 100 milligrams, I was like, surely she means 10 milligrams.
Oh, no, I even asked him, I was like, 100? And he was like, well, you can space it out. You can take your time.
How?
I was like, after one sip, it would be 5.
Literally.
Not a mathematician, but.
Those cans aren't that large. That would have to be a Route 44.
And it just looked
Sonic girlies, to make it make sense.
Well, it was also just such scary design. I was just like, this is making me panic. I can't. I was like, let's just go back to a joint, what we know and love.
And that's what we have done. And it's all in honor of this week's episode.
Of course it is.
Which I'm proud of you for taking on.
Sometimes you find yourself, on a Monday, stormy day.
Yeah.
Looking out the window, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm researching Bob Marley for work. How did I get here? How did I get here?
I literally had this conversation. I have a friend staying with me right now, and she was like, how amazing that you and your friend get to just research and educate yourself on random things. And whoever thought that for you would be Bob Marley?
Who would have thought?
I know.
Yeah, there's this one. There's been a few other ones that have shocked me Silk Road was something that shocked me, but then really stayed with me.
Silk Road is the Amazon for drugs, and we have a whole episode about it, and it was one of my favorites.
Same. So I hope that this will be in the same light. I think I was like, well, we did that poll and you guys really wanted to hear it.
Yes.
Secondly, there's the Bob Marley movie coming out. And so we thought this would just be good timing in case people want to know a little bit more.
Yeah, because I do, because the guy playing him is so hot.
He is really hot. And often after biopics, I feel like after Elvis and even Priscilla, you just want to know a bit more.
Tammy Faye Baker.
Tammy Faye.
Yeah, she was the OG one that we did.
Yes, you want to just know a little bit more details.
I agree. And so that's why we're here.
But yeah, still
Yeah, and when she said that when you voted for it, if you follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Right Answers Mostly, we always keep you up to date. And if you want to be even more up to date, you can join our Patreon for $7.99 because we tell you the upcoming episodes. But on top of that, you get 2 bonus episodes a month, and our whole catalog of episodes are on there. Our episode that we talk about ex-boyfriends and
ex-famous friends.
Yeah, that one has been getting some comments lately.
I mean, because I think people are just like, holy shit. Claire. I mean, it's Claire. It's me. It's very different stories we have.
You have some stories in there too.
They're all fun and juicy, but some are juicier than others.
And it's on Patreon for $7.99. You know we have to put our privacy behind a paywall.
Of course, we need to respect ourselves.
Yes.
And our friends.
Respect ourselves.
And our old friends that don't talk to us anymore.
Exactly. So the link is in the show notes. Check it out.
That was gorgeous plugging.
Thank you.
Gorgeous promotion.
I had to get it in.
She's good. She's smooth. She's smooth, kids. But before we start, how are you?
I'm good. Like I said, I'm glad to be here. I'm really curious to learn about Bob Marley because I know nothing about him. I started watching the trailer, and you were like, "Turn it off."
I was like, all of my surprises are now lost.
So they're being turned off. But yeah, I'm just excited to learn about him. That's how I am.
That's good.
And drinking Americano, that like really hits right now.
I really regret not getting coffee.
Every time you take a sip of the matcha, you're like, what the fuck?
Usually I like really like the taste of matcha. This tastes like it does just taste like dirt.
Well, that's like, you didn't get sweetened.
I know, but I put like a whole packet of stevia in it.
Oh, maybe you needed like 3.
I think it did.
Yeah.
I think it did. Yeah, well, what do you know about Bob Marley?
Well, I was thinking, like, I cannot get out of my head Ramona Singer saying reggae music, reggae, and Carol being like, it's reggae, which, of course, if anyone was going to pronounce reggae like that with the disrespect, it's going to be Ramona fucking Singer.
Of course it is. Oh, my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, reggae. So my experience with Bob Marley and reggae music.
Yes, Bravo to start, of course.
Of course, it all goes back to Bravo. Like I said, it was, like, classic, like, middle school girl. Like when we went to Destin, Florida, trash is for us. We always put on Bob Marley. This episode's gonna be a rocky ride.
I'm crying already.
But I don't know much more than that. I do associate him with weed.
Of course.
And so we love that. And that is, he's a king in my eyes for that. So, but besides that, we're talking about like white people are obsessed with Bob Marley.
There's always that guy that you know.
Is.
Or multiple, actually.
And I know one specifically, and I know you're listening right now. A shout out to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yes.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you, sweet angel.
Yeah, privacy.
You keep us young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, my connotation is similar of, like, which I was telling you the other day. I was like, what? Like, Bob Marley does bring me back to 7th grade.
Same.
And I remember that my friend who went to a different school than me, and if you're listening, Lindsay, hi.
Hi, Lindsay.
Protect your last name, but you know who you are.
Uh-huh.
And she was like the cool girl. She like went to a public school and then would come visit us and be like,
not a girl who went to a public school.
No, yeah, we were like these little like private school kids being like, what's it like out there? What's it like meeting people and experiencing the world?
That is so funny.
You know, like she just like knew like good music.
Yeah.
She had a lot of friends. She like every guy that I had a crush on, she ended up dating. And she always wore this Bob Marley shirt.
Tess sent me a picture. I'm like, Lindsay, we're going to post it.
Yeah, it was on my time hop. And I was like, this is what I remember of just being like, I'll never be a girl like you.
Yeah.
Like I'll never be that cool, effortless.
When we were also talking about like every movie with the beach opens up with Could This Be Love?
Of course. Blue Crush.
Also on The Office, where what's her face is like, I remember what Bob Marley says: "No woman, no cry." Oh
yeah, I forgot about that.
So you know, he's really just like impacted the culture.
He's impacted the culture. He definitely has.
Yeah.
Also, I did not mean to insult public school children.
We know, we're totally joking.
You know what I mean by that? That I was just like this little sheltered nerd.
Of course, we're all on the same page.
Okay, perfect. Of course, have to.
No, you don't need to panic about that.
Have to panic before we start panicking even more.
Pre-panic.
Okay, Tess, pull it together. So my sources for today.
Yes.
A New Yorker article.
Oh, New Yorker.
Very like
cool cousin.
Honestly, like, is that the cool girl?
Uncle. I mean, of course.
It is the cool cousin who you see once every few years because she's always traveling,
smoking cigarettes,
and she's like, why do I have to come to this like family functions?
And then but like she pulls you aside and like confides in you for a second, and you're like, I've been blessed,
and like tells you something that you've never heard before about like the world.
Exactly.
Wow. Oh, okay, so that was one of them.
We keep adding new family members every day.
We have to. And then we have Wikipedia,
stepfather,
of course, and then we have a Rolling Stone article. We've used this source a few times that I do think we need to claim.
Rolling Stone is male to me.
100%. Your
say it,
uncle.
Yeah, totally.
Your older uncle who's a little kooky.
Yeah, always playing the guitar, like the electric guitar.
You're always like, do you have a job?
Yeah, 100%.
But he also knows so much.
And he's cool.
Yeah.
Like probably the New Yorker's dad.
What? We should make a family tree.
We have to make a family tree. We will.
Oh, guys, now the creative juices are flowing.
Yeah, now this is what we're talking about with that creative sativa.
Of course, we needed it.
Love.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with a quote
Okay.
by Michael Gilmore from the Rolling Stone. And he says, Marley wasn't singing about how peace could come easily to the world, but rather how hell on earth comes easily to too many. His songs were his memories. He had lived with the wretched. He had seen the down pressers and those who they pressed down.
Whoa. Wow.
So it's kind of like, yeah, he wasn't just like, I think a lot of people associate him with just like happy beach.
Yeah.
You know, like a little bit like lighter. And like this man saw some shit and like had some really dark times.
Three Little Birds is actually about like a tortured soul. Just kidding. That song is actually so lovely in the Casey version.
Oh my God. Why was she at the Grammys, by the way? Was she nominated for that song?
She won with Zach Bryan for I Remember Everything.
Oh my God, I didn't even know.
Rightly so.
We're going to be talking all about the Golden Globes on our Patreon tomorrow.
And the Grammys, which is what you were just talking about.
That is what I meant. But we're also going to go back to the Golden Globes months ago.
But it's on our Patreon, so check it out. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, we're going to we need to gossip a little bit.
Yeah.
We need to talk some shit.
We need to.
But, okay, so Bob, little Bobby. Can you guess his sign?
Is he an Aquarius?
Yes! I knew you were going to get it right.
I feel like Aquariuses, shout out to you, Alice, and I was just about to start naming off every Aquarius, and I won't, that I know. But like very kind of like, they have something about them that you're like, what's that all about? You know? And they're kind of like doing their own thing.
That is the perfect way to describe it. Like with Love and Light, like a little bit of Odd Ducks.
Yes, which
not
in like
you,
the
Alice,
best way.
But like sometimes where you're just like, there is a mystery.
A mystery about Aquarius is 100%.
There is a unpredictability.
Yes. And every Aquarius, I'm like, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Yes.
It just makes sense.
Wow.
So yeah, he was born in perfect too for...
And perfect.
And perfect for Aquarius season.
Oh, yes. Of course.
Which we're in right now.
Yes.
So yeah, he was born February 6, 1945 in St. Anne Parish, Jamaica. So this is interesting. So he was born, his mom was named Cedella Malcolm, and she was a young Black woman. She was 17 years old when she had him.
Oh, jeez.
She had descended from the Cramonte tribe, who as slaves had staged the bloodiest uprising in the island's plantation era. And Bob's father was a 59-year-old.
Ew.
This is really tough. White dude who was a cement engineer in Britain's Navy and then at one point a plantation overseer.
Oh, God.
And you know, like when you're doing research about like this time and like these situations where it's like, oh, they met and they had, and you're like, there was something not, like, it didn't say that he assaulted her.
I mean, but it's like,
But
I think we could.
I think we could guess. And so like things said seduced her. And I'm just like always now like a little bit more like wary of that language. I'm like,
totally. She was 17 years old.
And it was the 40s and she's a Black woman and he's this white like Navy guy.
Which I got, you know, to just call it ignorance. Like obviously I don't know that much about Jamaican history, but like that is wild that like in the 40s there were plantation owners and enslaved people.
No, I know. It's wild.
Wow.
I mean, it didn't say much about like how they met. And that's why I'm just like, I'm assuming this is not great.
Yeah.
But he promised that he would marry her. And he did. But then he left her after Bob was born because he was like, I don't want disinheritance from my family. So it seems like it was this secret thing, even though he did marry her. So I was like, what was that logic?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there's no logic there.
He wasn't thinking.
This is a 6-year-old gross man.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay? No kidding.
Let's just...
And so he was very rich. If there was like an inheritance.
He was rich, but then so he leaves.
And she's like 18 and has like a baby.
Yes. He was around providing financial support, I think, until Bob was 6. And then they actually separated. Like they got divorced.
Oh, so they were still together, he just left.
Yeah, he just was like literally never around. He would like send them money. I think it was like this like big secret.
I mean, not that it's like some noble thing, but I'm glad he at least sent money. But only till he was 6.
Well, then so he stopped sending money, and then he ends up dying actually from a heart attack when Bob is 10. So he's like really not a prominent figure in his life. But his mother really is. And like he contributes a lot of his like artistry and creativity and spirituality.
I mean,
And like he's a mama's boy through and through.
I'm not surprised.
Also,
Moms are the best.
That name, Sedella, is very pretty.
Sedella. I've never heard it before.
I've never heard it either. I was like, that's
pretty.
gorgeous. But of course, you know, he is teased as he's growing up for his biracial makeup. He's often called the little yellow boy or the German boy. And I think like black kids are looking at him being like, you know, we can assume who one of your parent is, and like that makes us not want to be around you.
And we've seen that with some subjects too.
We have, we talked about that a lot in like even the Whitney Houston episode.
Just people feeling torn between two communities.
Exactly,
it's not fair.
And he definitely did. So after the money is not really flowing from the dad anymore because he's gone,
because he's dead,
and he's dead.
Because he's dead.
Because he's dead.
Sorry.
Always. Every episode we have a way.
We can't help it. We can't help it.
So he and his mom have to move to this place called Trenchtown, which is a West Kingston slum named for the sewer that ran through it.
Ugh.
So this was in no means a glamorous childhood.
God.
So he's sharing like a house, or it says like sharing quarters, with this kid named Neville Livingston, later known as Bunny Wailer, who is a famous Jamaican singer-songwriter.
Oh, I was like...
I know. I was like, drum roll! But even when I was researching, I was like, oh, I didn't know who that was.
Yeah. He grew up with him?
So, So they share quarters, and they begin to develop a friendship, and they start playing music together, and they're like, let's fucking jam. And they're like just very kindred spirits from the beginning.
Wow.
And then Sedella ends up getting with Bunny's dad.
Oh, really? That's a dream situation for those kids.
So literally they're like, it's like that scene in The Parent Trap.
We're twins.
We're not sisters. We're twins. They're like, we're not friends. We're brothers.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
That's nice.
And so this is nice. Like, it's obviously not the best situation for him as a kid, but he really finds a love in music and Bunny. And Sedella doesn't stay married to this guy long, but
that's sad.
She does end up marrying this guy named Edward Booker, who's a civil servant from the United States, and then she has more kids with him. But it was a time.
It was a time.
It was a time. So Bob and Bunny, sounds so funny to say together.
Bob and Bunny.
I know, Bob and Bunny.
Was he a Robert or is he just a Bob? Do you know?
He's just a Bob.
He's just, wow.
Just a Bob.
What a choice to name a baby Bob. Baby Bob.
Baby Bob. Wow, that is like, yeah. It's like whenever you like meet a kid that's named like...
We have a listener who DM'd us who had a relative named Clyde, and they're like, who names a baby Clyde?
I was like, that's fitting.
It's so cute. And who names a baby Bob? Already some kind of like parallels between the two subjects, by the way. The Devil's Back Porch, the sewer town.
That is true.
Trenchtown.
Trenchtown.
Yes.
So Bob and Bunny's music explorations deepened. They're listening to R&B from the United States. They're also being really influenced by New Orleans and starting to explore ska music. And they're like, damn. They're like, all of these different worlds are kind of like coming to us, and like, let's try to make our own sound, and let's try to form a band. Because then isn't it every kid's dream?
Yes. And I'm like, don't you wish you could go back to your youth and like play more music and then try to start a band?
Sometimes I feel like sick when I think about it.
I can't.
Of how like I gave up on piano. I think my parents were like, you have to play it until I was maybe like 15.
Oh, you played piano that long? I feel like you'd be able to pick it up.
I played piano for like 5 years, I think.
Wow.
Or maybe 6 years. And my mom played me a little snippet of myself the other day, and I was like, I was better than I thought I was.
She's talented.
But I hated it. I hated it.
I know. But that's just wasted on the youth. I think I would love it now.
I know. But then they say that,
now.
like, if you start to try to pick up an instrument when you're older, like, you're not going to, like, get it as quickly.
I know. It's
like,
the same thing with the language, too.
Like, things in life that, like...
But we should just try anyways.
That's true.
Bob and Bunny meet Claire and Tess.
You're going to have a run for your money. Oh, but I do wish I could sing. I really do.
Oh, me too.
But God, that's for another time. Okay, so then they're like, let's form a band. And they get this other kid named Peter Tosh to be involved. And so now the three of them are playing together.
How old are they, like, at this point? Are they like teenagers?
They're teenagers.
Okay.
Their band names, they had like a creative session. And they're like, okay, throw it all out there. Which I'm like, these are all really cute. Their band names were The Teenagers, The Wailing Rude Boys, the Wailing Wailers, and then the Wailers, which they became famous for.
Yeah. Okay.
The Wailers.
The Wailers sound. So the Wailers are a popular group.
The Wailers is Bob's group.
Oh.
Bob is in a group his entire life.
What?
And he also does things independently, but he is like in a band.
So I really didn't know that much about Bob Marley. So I'm sure if you guys are Bob Marley lovers, you're like, of course. But
well yeah, I know, and forgive me. I also was like, I always pictured him like performing solo, which he did, but like a lot of the drama in the story and a lot of like his journey is through like a band having like issues, because they always do.
They always do. Well, the name The Wailers does sound familiar in my mind somewhere.
Isn't it a good name?
Yeah, it is.
It's cute.
It is cute.
It's cute. So they end up recording 4 songs at Jamaica's first ever recording studio, which was later sold to Bob's record label in 1981. But they like founded this small little independent studio, and like that's where they were working and creating as they were teenagers, and like that's
what a
really
life.
It's really nice
In Jamaica.
I know.
Wow.
I know. So the Wailers, they're finally discovered by this guy named Coxsone Dodd, a well-known producer. And he's like, I see you guys. I see you growing. Let me help you. He's like, fine. He's like, at first I was like, here we go. They're going to be like taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really much to him.
Oh, that's good.
And they have this single, Simmer Down, that became a number 1 in February 1964, selling an estimated 70,000 copies.
And number 1 worldwide?
Number 1 in Jamaica.
Okay, got it.
But still,
I was going to say, because it's like, Jamaica is a small island.
Yep.
Like, already I'm just like sitting back and thinking like this major, massive person coming out of, especially his background already, is crazy.
I know. And like when I was hearing things of like, oh, they were listening to music from New Orleans, and like it is such a small country.
Yes.
It's like it takes a longer just to get different influences and
Totally.
And yeah, that's an interesting part of the story. So they kind of have like a little bit of success, but of course, like in everything we talk about on Ram, when people start to, there's no money. There's no money for a very long time.
No
like
kidding.
Even if you're selling hundreds of thousands of copies of something,
Yeah.
like, you know, they're kind of all struggling. So Bob is like, I should go to the United States and I should get a job there. I should like save, just because there's more work opportunities.
Yeah.
And jobs that pay a little bit better. And so he was like, got to get out, save some money, and then I'll come back. And during this time, right before he moves to Delaware, he meets this woman named Rita Anderson, who is a Cuban-born Jamaican singer and songwriter too.
Oh, wow.
And they get together. And we're not going to like focus much on his romantic life because like there's not a lot there. It
Okay.
says a few people he dated, which like weren't very well known. Nothing like really juicy. And then all the kids he ends up having.
Oh.
But he ends up having 11 children.
11?
11 kids. I think 2 of them are two of them are step, but the rest are like
Stat. Oh, okay. I see.
yeah, but like I think he has 9.
And is it all different mothers?
I think there's 7 different moms.
Oh my God.
So he's getting around.
It's like literally like Nick Cannon.
Truly. I
I
mean,
mean-
God, how does anyone have the time?
Well, men don't have to do much.
That's true, Claire. That is true, and thank you for bringing it there.
Yeah, so I mean, that makes sense.
He's like, sure, just another one.
Yeah, seriously.
They can go for so long.
They can go for too long.
Like, why does the body make it okay that men can still have like active sperm and they're like
It's not okay. Like that
60s
Mick
even.
Jagger has like a 2-year-old.
same with
Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
also oh no. Wait. No, that's not true. Martin Scorsese doesn't have
No, I
a
don't-
baby, does
but
he?
Maybe
No, it's Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
But maybe Martin Scorsese. I mean, he could if he wanted to, and that's the whole problem, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It is wild.
But we digress.
But we digress. So he's with Rita, ends up not being with Rita for a while. There's all I could really find was this guy named Kelso, one of Bob's lifelong friends, suggested that he was occasionally rough towards Rita, and she nearly divorced him many times, and it wasn't the best relationship. And that's really all I could find about his romantic life.
Wow.
But I hope the movie goes into it a little bit more.
Surely they will, because I feel like there's probably information that's not publicly out there that people can talk to.
And they'll romanticize it and like make it a
Yes.
storyline, where in the research I just couldn't find much. And I tried my goddamn best.
Yeah.
You know I did. So back to Delaware.
That's such a random place to move.
Well, he's working for a chemical company, which like kind of makes sense.
Really?
You know, I'm like, I feel like Delaware was such like a place of like,
I would like to go to Delaware. I just feel like it's a forgotten state.
I know. I'm like, what goes on actually in Delaware? I don't even know what I picture.
Me either.
But I do picture him working in like labs.
Yeah.
And so he's doing that, and then he's working on an assembly line,
Like factory work.
forklift operator at a Chrysler plant. So he's just...
And was he like trying to pursue music at this point, or is he like, I'm just gonna go try to get some money?
At this point, he's like, the music's gonna come back to me.
Yes.
He's
Well,
like,
that's
I just
nice.
know it. Yeah, I think he's just like, if I want to keep doing what I love, like there needs to be a little cash flowing,
and just like see what the States
don't
are
we
all
know
about.
that?
Yeah.
Don't we know that? But which is actually funny, when he was working there, he like had an alias because he was like, please respect my privacy, which I was like, I don't think anyone would have like recognized you. This was the 60s.
Oh,
he wasn't like a thing yet in the United States.
But in Jamaica, he was like kind of a thing.
I think people, like, he was like an indie artist, I'd say, at Jamaica at this point. Like, they just really had that one single. It would be like if we ran in, who's like a one-hit wonder?
Oh God, who wasn't?
I know, that's so true. You know, like in the
Torn.
early 2000s.
Natalie
Imbruglia.
Yeah.
I think she's a one-hit wonder.
Well, what are her other hits, if I may ask?
Oh, that is true.
You know?
That is true. I just love that song so
I mean,
much.
I love that song.
It's my karaoke
too.
song.
Yeah, it's great.
It's been a long time. But yeah, he was like, I'm going to go as Donald Marley and like, please respect my privacy.
Hey.
Donald.
Wow.
So
please respect my... I'm sorry.
They'd be like us.
Yeah, seriously. It's like, you're actually okay.
When we come in here, we're like, you guys, they're like, no, we don't think of you as anything.
We don't know who you are.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So he was originally raised Catholic because of his dad, which is also funny because like his dad wasn't even fucking around, but he was like, you raised my boy in the way that I was raised.
Oh, shut up.
Which like, shut the fuck up. But as he's getting older, he's experiencing different cultures. He goes to the United States. He comes back. He's hearing all these things. And also his mom, when he comes back, is like, let's not do the Catholic thing anymore.
Yeah.
And she's like, have you heard of Rastafari? And Rastafari, also Rastafarianism, is an Abrahamic religion that developed in Jamaica in the 1930s. It is classified as both a religious and social movement.
So I think of it, Rasta, as like a way of being.
It kind of is.
I had no idea it was like a religion.
Yeah, I mean, like technically, but it does, I think, lean towards more of like philosophies of like being present and mental health and happy. Like it is like a...
And it was developed in the 30s?
It was developed in the 30s in Jamaica.
Is there like a leader? Because I'm always a little weary about like things, being developed later.
God, that's true.
You know what I mean?
That is a very good point.
But I hope that it is just love and light.
We'll get into it a little bit.
Okay.
We'll get into like also what was going on like politically in Jamaica and like feel like out that sort of because I actually
but it does seem very like peaceful and
I think so, but I think there's some downsides too.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I think it's maybe they're a little bit too like peace is like well, I'll get into it.
Okay.
Because I won't be able to make sense right now because I'm like I'm still high, so I gotta just stick to
the page.
I'm like, Tess, don't go off, even though I have been. Lord knows I have been. So he and Rita.
Lord knows I have been.
They moved back to Jamaica. He's like, okay, some money is saved, and they're reunited with the band. And I feel like, like when things just change a little bit.
Rita moved with him?
Rita moved with him to Delaware.
I thought you were saying that she was like...
No, Rita stayed around for a while,
got it.
but not for long.
Okay.
And so he sees the band, and I think it's like a little bit of just like, hey, you've been gone, things change, we're changing.
Yeah.
And like, they're still fine to be together, but I think they're also like, we don't need this like producer dude, like we can do it on our own. There's some financial disagreements. I think they're all just like feeling like, okay, if we're going to do this, stakes are higher. We're getting like a little bit more stressed out. And I think Bob is also on this journey. One, because he's like changing religions and like he's really getting into like the Rastafari, like
unlearning Catholicism too. Like talk about a journey.
Talk about traumatizing.
No kidding.
Like
undoing trauma.
Yeah, that's true. And that is,
that's a lot.
That is a lot. That's why we're all in therapy. Yeah. And this is when Bob is like, guys, I am a Rastafari now. I, do things differently. And mainly I smoke so much weed because marijuana in this religion is like believed to aid in meditation, being present, self-discovery.
I agree though.
And so it's like, you better smoke a bunch of weed because that's when you're going to come to light and maybe like reach a higher power too, like in that high.
So it could be a little bit of a problem there.
Maybe. I think like anything. And like weed is a drug. Like it's great. Like I smoke it whenever I want. But like I think too, like putting any substance of like this is what's going to make you good or make you achieve.
And doing it constantly, yeah.
I think can be tough.
I think I totally agree.
You know, like I think there is a fine line.
There is too much. There's too much sometimes, you know? There is too much of a good thing.
I mean, that is true, especially how they make these joints these days. Remember back in my day, weed used to be like you could smoke an entire joint and feel just like it was like lighter. Now they just like pack that shit in.
It's infused.
It is infused. And I'd like to say a quote of Bob's of speaking about marijuana. And he said of his marijuana usage himself, he said, "When you smoke herb reveal yourself to you. All the wickedness you do, the herb reveal itself to you. You're conscious, you show up yourself clear because herb make you meditate. It's the only natural thing and it grows like a tree." Felt like it took 100 years to say.
Tess's cadence in it. But I agree. And it also like made me a little anxious being like, yeah, it does. It does reveal itself.
But it really does, because if you have stuff that you're thinking about,
it will reveal itself.
It will come to you sometimes at 3 a.m. When you've been a little high the night in the evening, and it can be intense.
Yeah, it can. And it is grown from, I understand how you could like, how they're almost like worshiping it in a way, because it's like it's a gift from the earth.
And it can do no wrong.
Opens your mind.
And sometimes it can.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've all had bad experiences.
Yeah.
And with this transition, Claire, we're going to play a little game called How Much of a Stoner Are You?
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. It reminds me of our How Much of a Theater Kid Are You?
Of course. We just have to throw them in sometimes,
Of
especially
course.
with things that are like so close to our heart, like weed.
Of course.
So you're gonna answer true or false, and then we're gonna score at the end, and everyone gets a category.
Okay, everyone play along at home.
Everyone play along at home. Number 1, I started smoking weed in high school.
False. I unfortunately was a late bloomer. I didn't start till 2020.
It's a really good thing because it's good for it is good for, I mean, I started smoking in high school, so I can't, but it is good for your brain to like not give yourself as many drugs until like you're older.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right? Because doesn't your brain not fully develop till 25?
That's what they say.
I still find that that's like a little too late in life.
Yeah, but also think about your that's I'm like think about your early 20s. You're like, of course my brain wasn't developed.
God, no, that is true. Like I was a wise 25-year-old.
So yours is true.
Mine is true. I started like senior year though.
Yeah.
And like almost end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have seen Pineapple Express more than 3 times.
False. Oh my God, I'm ashamed.
No.
Okay.
No, you'll.
Okay. True or false for you?
True.
Okay.
I have a designated drawer in my kitchen for munchy snacks.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for joints and stuff. Well, that's like just my cupboard.
Of course.
But not for munchy snacks. Like, I'm not like, these are my weed snacks.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But one of our friends the other day showed me her munchie drawer, and she organized it. And I don't want to say on here, but you know who I'm talking about, and it was amazing.
Oh my God. See, when
I was like, this is gorgeous.
When I have the munchies, you can't keep me to just one drawer.
No, absolutely not.
But that is such a beautiful thing.
God,
Like, that's a good idea.
That is a good idea. And like label it, make it fun.
Yeah.
I just got hungry.
Me too.
I had a poster of Bob Marley, Dazed or Confused, or Snoop Dogg in my bedroom as a teen or young adult.
False.
I also did not.
No.
But we probably slept with someone that did.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Are you kidding? Of course. Of course.
I'm able to take a work meeting a little stoned.
It depends on the work, and it depends on the weed.
I feel like you are.
I probably, I don't know. Sometimes that's like hard for me to focus. It depends like
what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, because like also I can giggle if like I look at you on a Zoom sometimes.
Oh my God, even
like
yesterday we both had the giggles at that one. We were texting each other during a meeting.
I forgot to tell you that. I had been on Bumble and matched with that guy a bunch.
Oh, I was like recently.
No. In 2018.
That's right.
And we always were like, why can't we figure out a date?
Oh my God, I kind of remember this.
Yeah,
wow.
because he's the CEO of that place that we talked to.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, who the fuck is that guy? So yeah.
That is crazy. Wow.
Anyway, had to gossip a little bit.
Yeah, to me, it just depends, like, on the job and on the weed. Like, if it's a can, if it's, like, 2.5 milligrams, I honestly think I'd be fine.
It's, like, light. It just makes you a little happy.
Yes, I've gotten, like, a little high on the job before.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, we all have.
Yeah, exactly.
And doing it in the office once, like, literally sitting, like, in an office was not a good choice.
Yeah, it depends. You just have to be also in the mindset.
You have to, no, you can't be I did it hungover after that Halloween, the terrible
Ugh.
one. Oh, no, it was not.
No.
Terrifying. God, I'm getting so distracted. Okay. I have smoked a joint first thing in the morning.
Weekends, baby. Wake and bake.
Of course. I have too.
Yes.
I have owned my own bong.
No.
Me either.
I've only taken a hit from a bong like twice.
I feel like we need to change it. I would just like love to see you experience it.
And just be like, whoa.
Because it's just so intense. Like I also haven't for years.
Let's get a bong.
Whew, like a little mini one.
Yeah, for sure.
I advise friends and family to indulge in weed when they tell me they have a physical or mental ailment.
True 100% of the time.
Gorgeous.
It's like really my like thing to fix anything.
Yeah, just get a little high.
If you have cramps, you're feeling a little sick,
Truly.
can't sleep,
I know.
need to relax. Yeah.
Say it, Claire. Say it. Okay, so that's it. We did 8. Okay, so you...
Probably like the last half.
I think you got 3 to 5.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So I scored these, like, in Cosmo, when, like, at the end, they'd be like 3 to 5. Like, good luck. You're going to, like, be alone. And so I tried to do it in the spirit of Cosmo.
Of course.
Okay, so if you scored 1 to 3, it says, sorry, cutie. You should just stick to your White Claws for now and not come to the herbal side.
Burn.
So that one's a little sassy. And with love and light, if you got that, we don't judge you, but Cosmo does.
Yeah, but just, like, put in the work,
Number 2. So if you got 3 to 5, which I think Claire did, you don't define yourself as a stoner, but you aspire to be like Bob.
Yeah, why not?
Don't we all? And I think I got 3, 4, 5. Oh, I got 5 to 8. Okay, so I got...
What are you, Tess?
Says you're in it to win it.
Oh, yeah.
Not going for the gold, but going for the green.
Tess, so clever.
Thank you so much.
Cosmo, call her.
I haven't looked at this since I wrote it.
That was so cute.
Thank you so much.
Go for the green, babe.
Call me Cosmo.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back to 1969, and Jamaican popular music is changing the sound and tone. So like when Bob was first doing music, it just was a different sound.
Yeah.
And now it's like a little bit more, it's like slowed down. There's a steady beat. There's a ticking rhythm. And so the Wailers are like, let's capitalize off this and let's come out with a record. And they did. And it was called The Best of the Wailers. And it had this new sound without the trumpets and saxophones.
Oh, but
and
I do love the horns.
I love
I know
a horn.
you do. I know you do.
Sunday Candy. Oh, God. It just like always gets.
It's so good. It's interesting
drugs.
to think about Bob Marley with like horns. I don't think about, I guess there's some horns that I guess are on there.
Yeah, I think at the beginning it was just like horn heavy.
Well,
and
that
now,
makes sense. They're listening to New Orleans music.
Oh, for sure.
And now it's more chill.
It's like stripped down with like an electric guitar. And I also
love that.
I could just listen to an electric guitar, So this offers some more success and more like stable recognition. And then in 1972, Bob finally signs with CBS Records independently without the band.
Ooh, that's always tough. So 72, he's in his early 20s, right? 50, 60, late 20s, I guess.
He's born in 45?
45, yeah, 55, 65. So then he's like, yeah. He's like 28 or something like that. I don't know. This isn't a math podcast.
Do not ask us to do math, especially high.
No.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying. So he signs independently, which like honestly the band was like, that sucks, but like we always knew that he was going to be the star.
Well, that's not what I expected their reaction to be. So.
Well, Peter's a little bit more pissed, but Bunny is like, you're my boy, and like go out and shine.
And bring me along with you, maybe?
I mean, of course.
Yeah.
And they're still like, with his success, it's like, what's that thing you always say?
High tides raise all ships.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful, And
it's true.
It is true. And like, I think that's how he saw it. And he goes on a UK tour with Johnny Nash. Do you know Johnny Nash? He sings, I can see clearly.
Oh, yes.
Now.
What the rain is gone. Perfect for today.
Truly. That is how we feel. But I think he's also like, okay, like we're having some success in the UK. People like definitely now know who I am in Jamaica.
Oh, in the UK?
Yes, because he signs in with CBS in the UK. And that's when he goes on that tour. So he's opening for Johnny Nash. And people are like, okay. And I think he's really like, how can we break my kind of music into the United States? And he's like, I'm very aware that at this time, it was only these like white college kids in the 70s who wanted to listen to me. And he was like, that was fine. But I was also like, this isn't really like made for you.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
You know?
My God, don't
and
we see that all the time?
But I do feel like white people like claimed Bob Marley like as his own, and it's just as their own.
And he's like, that's not what I intended
like,
at
truly.
all.
And he's like, thanks for the record sales, but also like enough.
Yeah, enough of you guys. Enough.
Taylor Armstrong.
Enough.
So
wow, what an interesting like also conflict within yourself. No, I don't even know if conflict's the word.
No, yeah, being like, okay, like I'm getting some fame, recognition, more money. it's also like not going towards
people that I think would actually relate to this more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
Yeah.
I'm making it for.
100%.
Yeah.
White people always stealing and stealing and stealing.
Classic.
We will be talking about that later this month as well.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a history podcast after all.
That is true. So, okay. So the Whalers are still booking. They're booking and busy.
So he's double booked.
He is double booked.
Okay.
And so the Whalers were scheduled to open 17 shows in the United States for Sly and the Family Stone. Do you know what that is?
that name sounds familiar.
That's like a famous 70s rock band.
Yeah, I think so.
And after 4 shows, they're fired from this tour, just to like show you how much people were really liking them because they were more popular. Like people would like boo when they left the stage, like they wanted them like for longer. They were like
people would go to the show to see the opener,
and they're literally like, and then people would like leave after and stuff. So they're fired because they're like, fuck, like
we can't have you as our opener.
Yes.
Wow.
And like while that is a nice sentiment, that's also like, okay, now we're fired from a show. We're not getting paid the rest of this money.
Right.
We're not getting to go to different cities to like get more exposure, more popular.
They needed like a manager to be like, I'm going to help you guys.
At this point, like they need a little direction.
Yeah.
But all 3 of them are like, you know what? We can still play casually together, but like, we just don't really see how this is going to like work. So we should all be pursuing a solo career at the same time.
Wow.
But then it said that, and then in so much more of my research, I'm like, then they did this together and this. So I think they still did, but it wasn't like the camaraderie and like hope that they were like, we're going to be this big thing. They almost came back as like, not like a has-been band, but like, I think they came back as like, we'll do our greatest, but we're not going to keep moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. We like want to focus on our own thing, but it's like a fun thing
but
with
like
our friends
we'll
to do.
sing like the hit singles and stuff and like probably get a good chunk of change from it. And
was Bob the only singer in the Whalers? Or were they all singers?
I think he's the only one singing.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think Peter, I actually don't know. I just don't know. And I can't remember the images at all of what they, so once again.
To your homework.
To your homework. And also remember before when I was like, there was a little bit of tension between Peter and Bob. So in like Bob's new wave of just like, I am chill with everything. I'm smoking the weed. I'm connecting to whatever he's really believing in.
Yeah.
There's a little tension between Peter and him because like at this time, Bob is kind of becoming the symbol of peace and unity for like a very troubled nation. And people
he's like getting big enough in the States to...
He's getting big enough where he's speaking out about it. And he's not really like making these grand statements, but he's more just like, why don't we love each other?
Yeah.
Why can't we all come together? And I think for someone like Peter was very much like, this unity is giving people false hope. And I'm kind of on the other side where I'm like, yeah, like this isn't a great political situation that we're in. But he's like, there is one good, for Peter, he's like, there's one good side. There's the good side and the bad side. And for Bob to be coming up here and being like, let's just chill, everyone, he's like, it's kind of annoying.
Right. He's like, that's not helping anything, actually. And it's like, that's a nice idea, but that's not actually like, that's not realistic in Peter's eyes.
Or productive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand that.
I understand that too, of like and like that can be frustrating too, even like when you're in an argument, you know?
Yes.
And like you're like, look at a friend and they're like, well, you're like, pick my side.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah,
it's just
totally.
like, it's a thing. So in 1975, Bob has his international breakthrough with his first hit outside of Jamaica. So he's finally like, we're getting there.
Yes.
We're getting there. And the people are finding me. And it's called No Woman, No Cry.
No woman, no cry.
It all circles back to The Office.
So funny.
A show I have never seen.
Yeah, it's an inside joke between our friends because like The Office just really does not seem like a Tess show. And so we're all like convinced she hasn't actually seen it.
But why doesn't it seem like a me show?
I don't know. I think it's like too many like cubicles and suits. Like it just does not seem like your vibe.
I watched every episode.
And it's so funny.
Every Sunday in high school.
Wow. It is so
but
good.
Hey, but everyone that meets me is like, yeah, that doesn't seem like your vibe. But like, I think it's so funny and I love like.
I mean, it is. Like,
oh
who
my
could
God,
not love it?
It's so funny.
So
anyway.
Wow, that was his first song.
No Woman, No Cry. The first one that hit around the world.
Wow. Of course he's in the 70s too. I didn't like really know what time periods place him in, but of course it's the 70s.
I also don't know what time period I'm in at all. I'm like, where are we? Is this the 70s? Is this the 80s? So this is followed by a breakthrough album in the U.S., Rastaman Vibration in 1976, which reached the top 50 of the Billboard Soul charts.
Wow, so he really is leaning into Rasta.
He really is.
Yeah.
He really is.
Wait, top 40 in the soul charts?
Top 50,
Oh,
Billboard.
top 50. Wow, yeah.
So he's up there. Okay, so December 3rd, 1976. It's 2 days before this concert is held in Jamaica called Smile Jamaica. And its purpose, its vision is to aim, to bring like a little less tension between the two political parties I had been mentioning. So what was going on? Let's talk a little bit about this tension. So a general election was due in Jamaica in early 1977. And in 1976, there was an escalation in pre-existing political conflict between supporters of the left-wing's People's National Party, the PNP, of Prime Minister Michael Manley, and the pro-U.S. opposition Jamaica Labour Party, the GLP. So a state of emergency was declared in June because of just how much...
Did you say pro-U.S. opposition?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, was the U.S. trying to get involved, and they were like, yeah, let's have the U.S., and the other people are like, let's stay as an
I think they were trying to get into it.
Yeah.
So a state of emergency was declared because just tensions were very high. There was a lot of violence.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, disagreements. And so then in October, the Ministry of Culture planned a free concert to bring people together to diffuse tension and asked Bob to participate. Does this ever work?
No.
It's
like,
it's
sorry to bring it there, but just like what we saw on the Grammys, where I was like, guys, like, I understand what you're trying to do, but you think like this major world conflict is going to be solved by people playing instruments together? Which is like very Peter mindset.
It's exactly. It's like saying, like all these, oh my God, that was cringe.
I thought so too.
It's like such a privileged event with all of these people and like disgusting amount of money being like, look what we have on the stage.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, well, look what's going on right now.
Yes, exactly. But so I understand, like, even with this music festival, and I hope that it was good, but it's like, that also kind of seems like a terrible idea to bring people who like hate each other together.
When there's been all of these fights going on, it's like, now let's all be in the same.
And be in a huge like crowd.
Without like any way to like
contain people. Like, that sounds like a terrible idea.
It was a terrible idea, Claire.
Oh, no.
And to remind you of Bob's sort of stance with everything, he was quoted to say, I don't stand for the black man's side. I don't stand for the white man's side. I just stand for God's side. So as you can imagine, if he's saying something like that when people have such passionate sides politically and probably morally and socially and everything, that's a very frustrating statement.
No kidding.
So at 8:30 p.m. on December 3rd, 1976, 2 days before this concert, 7 men armed with guns raided Bob's house at 56 Hope Road. Marley and his band were on a break from rehearsal. Marley's wife, Rita, was shot in the head in her car.
No.
In the driveway. The gunmen shot Marley in the chest and arm. His manager at the time, Don Taylor, was shot in the legs and torso. Band employees Lewis Griffith took a bullet to his torso as well, but there were no fatalities.
Rita survived?
She survived.
I have the chills.
I know.
She was shot in the head?
I know. I wonder.
And Bob Marley was shot in the chest?
Yes, they all survived.
Who were these people?
So, Bob.
Holy shit.
Bob told concert chairman Trevor Phillips that the leader of the Jamaican Labour Party, Edward Sega, Michael Manley's political opponent, was alleged to have ordered the bodyguard, Lester Jim Brown, to be present during the shooting. So he's now like, this was a political thing. Like, I don't know who shot me, but like, I know who put him up to it. And Nancy Burke, who was Bob's neighbor and friend, recalled hearing Wailers percussionist Alvin Patterson say, it's Sega, that guy.
It's like, what? I guess because he's just such a big symbol to people. It's like, why would you ever get him involved?
No, and he wasn't even really like taking a side, but I'm sure there are ways to be like, well, I can assume, what he's doing, or like if he's harming our side.
That's crazy. It's like literally he's just a singer, guys.
I know. And he's like literally high all day, like he's like recording like with his band at his house. And so.
Holy shit.
I know. So after the shooting, numerous reports indicated that the gunmen returned to Tivoli Gardens, a neighborhood loyal to the JPL. So Bob is not happy. And they all survive. But
that's crazy, though.
Which is truly why I actually like really wonder like what, like to a head, like it must have then had to go not on
Who knows?
your brain.
Oh my
Would not fill your
God.
brain. Terrible. So he's like the far right ordered this, did this to make sure that the concert didn't happen, which it didn't.
That's crazy that that's your way of making. I guess like that makes sense why they would go after him now, because before it's like, what the fuck?
No, I know.
But that's disgusting.
It is absolutely disgusting. But then from this experience, he wrote the song "I Shot the Sheriff" because he was like, you know what?
But I did not kill the deputy.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that's crazy that song is from such a traumatic event.
Truly, though. And it feels very, like what we're saying at the beginning, like it feels very light and like,
Yes.
oh, let's all put this on. But
wow.
like there's some dark, that's traumatic.
That
Absolutely
is.
traumatic. Okay, so now we're in 1977, and he has this new album called Exodus, and it's a massive commercial success. It cements his star status, and he goes on a worldwide tour.
Mhm.
However, in July 1977, Bob is diagnosed with a type of melanoma under his right toe. He had seen 2 doctors before a biopsy was done, and it confirmed lentiginous melanoma, which, unlike other melanomas, which usually appear on skin exposed to the sun, it occurs in places that are easy to miss, such as the sides of your feet, such as under your toe.
And that's such a good point. Like it's not exposed to sun.
And it's most common with people with darker skin because it's harder to see.
Wow.
And it's not mentioned in a lot of popular medical textbooks.
Well, what you just said
Exactly.
checks out.
Exactly. Are we shocked? Are we shocked? So Marley rejected his doctor's advice to have his toe amputated.
His whole toe.
Because of religious beliefs.
Oh, and Rasta.
Yeah.
Rasta, yeah.
Rastafarian beliefs, I guess, are maybe no amputation,
Oh
no
my God.
and so
No.
And so they did like a little, I guess, like the nail and the nail bed were removed, but they really were like, we need to cut off this entire toe if you don't want this to spread. And he was like, no, I think it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna
Bob
pray, and that can be really hard to hear.
Definitely frustrating.
Definitely,
for sure.
definitely frustrating. So despite his illness, he continues touring, and he's at this point like he's not terribly sick, but like it's not great.
I mean, he has cancer,
and it's like spreading very fast.
Oh my God.
And he is just like, he's in his early 30s, which is just so sad. Like I always pictured him when this was happening, like in his 50s.
Right, because I think also when you look at someone when you're younger, everyone just seems older to you.
That's true.
But that is crazy.
I know, but he had some good moments before things got really bad. He had 100,000 people that came to see him in Milan, Italy.
Oh.
And after that show, he went to the United States where he performed 2 shows at Madison Square Garden in New York, which was like epic. But then when he was in Central Park during that tour, he was jogging. He ended up collapsing. And he was sent to the hospital where he found out that the cancer had spread to his brain, lungs, and liver. So
I had no idea that this is how he goes.
I didn't either.
Oh my God, that's so frustrating, as like always it is with these illnesses.
I know.
Like it's just not fair.
I know. No, it's crazy. He was about to sign a monumental new record deal with a $10 million advance. That didn't happen. His famous album was to be Legend, a 1984 hits collection released by Island Records, which has now become one of the best-selling albums of all time. He recorded it, but I don't think he saw it. I mean, he didn't see the success of it. And he ended up dying on May 11th, 1981 at 36 years old. I know there's no easy way to go into this transition,
That's
but
crazy that it was just all of a sudden you're becoming huge.
Yep.
And it's like you could have got your toe removed.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I know.
At 36?
At 36.
God, he was so young.
I know. This quote says his role in turning reggae into a worldwide phenomenon is one of the reasons the category of world music was invented in 1987 to help stars break out from beyond America and Europe, many of whom inevitably got described as the Bob Marley of their homeland.
Wow. So this might be a dumb question. Did he create reggae? Was it a genre before, or is it something that he kind of started doing? And it seems like you said from that quote, he like felt passionate about spreading
like
it.
him and the Wailers like really created it.
Yeah.
Like they all took the inspiration together.
Yes.
And so I think like the three of them did, Bunny, Peter, and him.
Yeah, for sure. And then he like wanted to spread.
Yeah. And he was always going to be the star.
Yeah. I mean, you're just born that way.
Exactly. Some of us have it.
Yeah.
Look at us now. But you guys did want to hear about a conspiracy theory about his death. And I thought it was going to be like a bunch of them. It's just this one conspiracy theory.
Okay. I didn't know that he had conspiracy theories about his death until I saw the poll.
There is this one, and there's two versions of it, but I'm just going to say the one that is kind of like the better known one. Okay. So how else could Bob Marley have passed?
Yeah.
So in 2018, rappers T.I. and Busta Rhymes reignited a bizarre conspiracy theory about the death of Bob. So they shared a screenshot on Instagram of an article quoting a supposed ex-CIA agent called Bill Oxley. According to the article on Vanguard, a Nigerian news site, Oxley claimed he had infected Marley with cancer when he was posing as a New York Times photographer in order to gain access to the singer at his Blue Mountains retreat in Jamaica.
What?
He said he infected his toe, pricking his toe with cancer viruses and bacteria because he got close enough to him because he was like posing as a photographer.
So with his toe?
With his toe. And he said that and he gave him new shoes. And so he had like a prick of something.
I just like don't imagine cancer being something that you like infect people with. You know what I mean?
I don't think it really works that way.
Yeah, I don't know anything, but I don't think so either.
No, I think that's like impossible.
Yeah.
And so he said he gave him a pair of Converse All-Stars, size 10. When he tried on the right shoe, he screamed out.
That's what people think.
This is literally, guys, this was the only conspiracy theory I could find.
Why would he kill him?
Because his dad worked for the CIA and they wanted him dead.
Well, it's always like, but why does the CIA want them dead?
I thought this whole episode, you guys, by the way, was going to be an entire episode about these conspiracy theories because I saw something and I was like, oh, this could be like an hour worth episode of just this is the only thing. It's like a very like silly.
I wonder if there's a conspiracy theory because I feel like there often is with celebrities who died that like he's not really dead too and like hiding somewhere.
Like John Lennon.
Like John Lennon, I think there's one about like James Dean too.
Yeah.
Elvis, I think, is one.
I think they're all.
Yeah, I think we just gotta let the mouse go.
And I know, like we all mourn things in different ways, but like you gotta accept some things are final.
That conspiracy theory is so weird. Also, there's like I feel like with a conspiracy theory, you need something to be like, ooh, it could be real, and it's like that.
No, this is just like, you like put on a shoe and you had like a little ball of cancer in there, and then all of a sudden you have it. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So that's really all. That's really all I can say.
You happy?
You happy? No, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been crazy. His voice was an omnipresent cry in our electronic world. His sharp features, majestic looks, and prancing style of vivid etching on the landscape of our minds. Bob Marley was never seen. He was an experience which left an undeniable print with each encounter. Such a man cannot be erased from our mind. He is part of the collective consciousness of the nation.
Wow. Well said. I mean, he is someone that is like so unique in all of his own, especially like at that time too.
Yeah, he was creative. He created a new sound. He got people to think about peace.
Yeah.
Which I know there's some problematic things to that too, but like.
And I also don't want to be negative in that. Like we should be striving for peace.
No, I think it just like we talked about, it feels so like not concrete.
Yes.
And sometimes can feel, just not productive. But of course, anyone that's like, especially in these times of 60s and 70s when like the world is not in a great place, to preach like unity and community
and to like have an escape too with like their art.
Exactly.
Really needed.
Exactly.
And he was hot.
And like, you know, people still love him today. And I hope you found out a little bit more information in some ways than you ever could have imagined.
I had no idea about that. And that's why that on the trailer it was when the like assault or the like attack happened. Yeah. And she was like, turn it off right now. I actually am curious to see the movie. I'm scared.
I know, I'm scared too.
But I'm curious. And especially now that we've listened to the episode, like we have to go see it.
Of course, well,
we should smoke and then go. French fries and martinis.
Like we do with every Ram movie.
Yeah, we have to do that.
If you guys also want to start doing that, take a picture if you ever go. Like if you see Bob Marley, post post it, tag us, and have a martini and fries because that's the Ram special.
Yeah, that is truly what we've done with every movie or subject that has been made into a movie.
It's so fun.
It's so fun. Treat yourself.
Exactly.
And happy Valentine's Day this week.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Galentine's Day.
Happy Galentine's Day, more importantly.
Tell someone you love them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really all it's about.
And we love you guys. You Rammies are our Valentines.
Our forever Valentines.
Yeah, we love you. Great job, Tess.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for listening, guys. Follow us at Right Answers Mostly on Instagram, TikTok. If you go to our link tree, you can find all of the things there, rightanswersmostly.com.
Which is in our show notes.
Yes, to get Patreon merch.
Yep.
And just all the good discount codes, all the good stuff.
That's right. And we'll be back next week with a brand new episode.
Yes, we will. Bye, Rammies.
Bye.